Hey guys, what's going on? We got another Enhancement Shaman PvP video. This time we are back with threes with Plum and Shook. We are playing Beastcleave. This is the first time we have played this comp, and we are on a fairly fresh set of characters in threes rating, so it's not anything crazy high or anything, but by the end of this session we got to 1950 I think from fresh, so it's pretty good. Pretty good. But anyways, right now we're probably at around 2 to 2100 MMR. So yeah, but we are playing Totemic Elementalist as well. So I know a lot of you are more interested in Storm, but I found that Elementalist was giving me more of an edge in these matchups. But anyways, first set is against a Warrior, Shadow Priest, and a Holy Paladin. So our main focus is going to be on the Shadow Priest just to shut down their damage as much as possible. But whenever they get a defensive or something put on them, we kind of switch to the Warrior a little bit just to try and put a little bit of pressure on everybody, forcing the Paladin to use a bit more mana, and also make sure they know everybody's a target for us. Both of us can swap on a dime pretty well. But you can see here the priest is playing very aggressive, trying to sit on top of Shook, make sure he CCs him as much as possible, and getting him feared. So I'm just trying to make sure I don't get double feared and stuff like that, making sure that I can support Shook by getting him out of any CCs he needs to. Here we get the priest very low. He uses Fade and his Shadow Meld. The Pally also uses Bubble, which is pretty massive, and we get a whole lot of cooldowns. Here I get pretty close to dying, but Shook ended up saving me with a bop. And now both teams are kind of topped off a little bit, but we have the advantage of pure pressure. You can just see the amount of damage I am doing to this priest is absolutely terrifying for him. It's all Lava Lash and just random bursts of it every time I drop my totem. But you can see I'm trying to keep dots up on at least the warrior and the priest, making sure I get two sets of flame shock value, which means more totem damage, or more Lava Lash damage, sorry. So here the warrior came in with a nice fear. I dropped the cap totem and I was going to move it on top of them, but he stopped me just in time, which was a bit unfortunate, but it is what it is. So here is the last bop from the Paladin. He went to cast Searing Glare, so I just went ahead and interrupted it. Here, I couldn't interrupt it, so I end up sitting this annoying ability, missing spells all the time. Here the warrior pushed in really far, so I jumped to him, trying to put in a bit of damage. I don't have Tremor to get Shook out of that fear either, so all I can do is stop the Paladin from CCing Shook, so I dropped a grounding totem to catch the repentance. Then I get him with the interrupt, and we're still putting a lot of pressure on the Shadow Priest, interrupting when we can, but mainly focusing interrupts on the Paladin to make sure that no CC gets to Shook. So here I'm taking a lot of damage. Thankfully Shook still had Lay on Hands. There's the Warrior's Die by the Sword. There's a Side Fiend. You have to make sure you kill that. Very important. And here we get a huge amount of damage. Just random Lava Lash damage going off right on that priest. And he just couldn't keep up. So this next one we got is Warrior-Warlock-Druid. Our main focus is going to be on the Warlock, making sure they can't quite cast. Warlocks are a bit terrifying, but they also take quite a lot of damage, and pushing the warrior a little bit too, making sure that he knows he's in danger as well. So you can see both of them are low, and druids are not very good at healing multiple targets. They have to expend a lot of mana in order to do that. So our main goal here is to get as much damage on everybody as possible and making sure these cyclones are not going off. So you can see the druid was playing very aggressive right in the open, so I went ahead and started whacking him. He didn't have hots on him at all because he's more focused on the DPS taking damage than himself, so we end up getting him quite a bit low. So here Plum jumps in, gets a nice trap. I can't quite touch the Warlock right now, so I'm just whacking the Warrior a little bit, getting a bit of damage, spreading it out, making sure I can do something and not just sit there and die. Here we get very close. Plum gets a nice Lay on Hands just in time. The Warlock gates, but I chase in no matter what. Trinket the Fear, try and get as much damage, but we just couldn't quite push him past the 0 point. It was very, very close. But here, you start getting back onto the Warlock. Warrior is still chasing me, so I'm getting double value just doing damage to both of them, which is fine. It allows Plum to chase after the Druid, get a nice double cap totem there. He disarms me, which does remove quite a bit of damage, but not as much as if I was Storm. So I lasso him for a quick second, and we just start pushing more. Gets a bit of CC. We're about to get some CC onto this Druid, and we're going to push this Warlock over the edge. So there's the Ironbark, perfect. We got CC. It's not ideal, but we can push through. We start putting a lot of damage, even more. Everything. The Druid's panicking. He's already at quarter. He's almost a quarter mana, so he's almost done. And the Warrior's still chasing me to knock him away. He jumps in. So I go ahead, hit him a little bit, but nothing too crazy. He went for a charge, gets hodged on it, so there's all of his mobility gone. There's a totem. Here's a hot hands window. Big damage coming out onto this Warlock. He ends up porting away, which is very annoying. So I just go ahead and start pulling this Warrior away from his team, which is very, very helpful, because that means they have to come off the pillar in order to hit me, and the Warrior has to go into a bad spot. But the Warlock has come out once again, so we're back on top of him, making sure we're getting anything we can. The Druid starts kind of pushing in, but not really doing anything with it. I don't know why he came off. So here, the Warrior is trying to push on the Shook to get him into a fear, but he ends up getting into a really bad spot, and we get a few cooldowns. I dropped Tremor just in case, because I really thought the Warrior was going to get a fear off, but he didn't. But I still was able to break a fear off of Plum, which was good. But here, all of them stack up, so this is perfect for me. Maximum damage. It doesn't matter what we hit here, something is going to die because everybody's low. And the Warrior fell over. When everybody is grouped up, especially when you're fighting pet classes as a Elementalist Shaman, you get a huge amount of damage value out of that. It's crazy. So here we are against a BM Hunter, Rep Paladin, and a Resto Druid, better known as Cupid. Our kind of focus is the Hunter, but at the same time, the Paladin can definitely fall over. So there I probably should have trinketed and walled. Thankfully, we were able to stay alive just enough. So here, there's Ironbark and there's Bop as well. So this is already a great start for us. Perfect start. I still have my wall, so I am good. Here's a huge amount of damage. There's a Hunter defensive, whatever that's called. So perfect. We're getting everything out of them right now. And here, Shook gets trapped. So but I think he ends up trinketing and dispelling the Hodge off me, which is great. So I went ahead and walled, and we're still on top of this Hunter. There's both his defensives gone, I think. I think that's how it works. So we're still pressuring him, making sure he can't do anything. There's Turtle, plus a Lay on Hands. Perfect overlap for us. This is great. So we switch to the Paladin for just a second while he's in Turtle. Get a huge amount of damage on him, forcing the Druid to put hots on him. Plum gets a nice stun with his racial, so now we're on top of the Hunter, and we're just putting pressure onto him, and he falls over. Quick swaps like that are a Druid's nightmare, because they have to hot everything, right? They need Life Bloom, they need Rejuvenation, they need Wild Growth, they need Regrowth. All of that makes the healer do a lot more. And here, we are against Windwalker, Fury Warrior, Holy Paladin. So this one's interesting. You can also notice that I have Counter-Strike Totem on the bottom left, or top left of my bars, I guess. Anyways, Counter-Strike is a great button, especially when fighting double melees like this. The reason being is, one, if they don't kill it, it's definitely going to do a lot of damage. And two, if they have to target it, they have to try and target it and kill it and spend something, so they're not doing damage to the target, which is great. And as Totemic, you also gain extra range on it and a bit more damage because of the way Totem does, or Totemic hero talents work, which is great. So you get a huge amount of value out of just using that. So here the monk kind of switches to me, but not really. He's kind of hitting me, but doesn't get anywhere, so he kind of backs off. So I move my totems in, chasing them down. They go after Shook. Shook ends up bubbling. Bit unfortunate, but trade is fine. Bubble for Bop, and then we purge it off, and we get a huge amount of damage on this monk. He's just able to fall over at any time, so I back off a little bit, go for a Hex. I'm not quite sure what removed Hex. He may have bubbled, I guess. He gets a rep off on Shook, but he goes ahead and trinkets, and then I think he CCs the other Paladin, and we just get a massive blast of damage onto that warrior. But anyways, guys, that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. I hope your experience with the ladder is going well too, and whichever one you're playing, whether it's Storm or Elementalist, I hope you're enjoying it. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Laters!